Hey there, this is Coach Bill with Meditate School of Mindfulness coming from our space at Zen Mindspace. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about something I've been working on a little bit, a little mindful moment, a little lesson in acceptance of anger. And maybe I'll start by talking about the question that comes up quite often. How do we find peace in our lives amongst all the anger in the world? Look, there's no doubt that it's easy to get mad about stuff. It doesn't matter what day it is. We're bombarded with messages or people who make us angry, or things that make us angry. And this constant anger kind of defines our life. It shows up in our politics, it shows up on our airwaves, it shows up in our social media, it even shows up how people drive on the road. There's so much anger. And this perpetual anger tends to feed on itself because, let's face it, people aren't going to do things the way we expect them to. And people are quirky. We're quirky. The people around us can really push our buttons, some days more than others, right? And then what happens once somebody ticks us off? We never forget it. We hold on to that anger. Our protective nature kicks in and we automatically switch on the defense mechanism when we encounter that person who pushed our buttons. To make it even worse, when we get angry, after a while maybe we start to feel bad about our anger, or we feel ashamed for even letting that person get under our skin. Look, the truth is anger is part of our makeup. We shouldn't deny that it's there. We shouldn't always identify it as a bad thing. It's a human emotion. And it's very useful when it comes to that fight or flight response, when we need to protect ourselves. It's a good thing because it can fill us with energy. If used the right way, it can help us. When it comes to anger, though, some of us are taught to believe that there's good anger and bad anger. The bad anger is that stuff that we shouldn't have, the things we shouldn't get angry about. Getting angry about things that don't matter, or things that aren't connected to what's going on. The good anger is a kind of righteous anger. It's that stuff that we should be angry about, and it's that stuff that we should always stay angry about. So in my practice, when I'm focusing on developing mindfulness and being more balanced and more agile, we have to figure out how this concept of anger fits into our practice, as if carrying righteous anger is ever a good thing. Because doesn't that turn into resentment? Doesn't carrying all that tension and stress affect us in a negative space? And then isn't part of our practice to practice forgiveness? The other thing that I have to work on getting my head wrapped around is, who gets to decide what's righteous or not? Am I even qualified? Because what's right to me isn't right to somebody else, and aren't our differences the things that make us stronger as a community? One of the cornerstones that I believe is we should always question our emotions. We shouldn't suppress them or deny them, but we should question why they're there, and especially when it comes to anger. Because if we don't question it, how do we keep our mind from triggering that automatic anger response, which we know turns into stress? Why would we want to keep thinking about all the things that make us angry and keep saying that they're justified? Why? When we do that, we set ourselves up to be angry by living within our own expectations. And I'm going to be surprised that people keep acting the way they do. Why? Look, how many times in your lifetime have you driven in traffic and been cut off? But still, every time it happens, I can't believe that person cut me off. What's wrong with them? How many times in our lifetime have we been driving on the road, on the interstate, and come to a construction zone and gotten angry? Why are they doing construction? They shouldn't be doing construction. This is terrible. As if we've never encountered construction before. As if it should only happen when we're not on the road or after we pass. We act surprised or get offended by some of the things that people say. Like, how many times has that family member said the same old thing or acted the same old way? And we're like, I can't believe my mother-in-law just said that to me. Really? You can't? Even though she's been doing and saying similar things the whole time you've known her? Apparently that's the way they behave and they think it's right. So when I question it, I turn it around and say, maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it's a me thing for being shocked when they show me who they are for the 100th time. Maybe it's a me thing for expecting them this time to be different than the time before and before. Look, it doesn't mean it's okay that they act a certain way, but it's true. And when we come into the reality of acceptance, we have to accept that people aren't always going to do the things that we expect them to. The other thing we need to reflect on is, why are we so confident about our own side? We tend to always think our side is the right side. We tend to get stuck in our righteousness and believe our way is the only way. That we're right. There's a proverb in the book of Proverbs that says, the first to testify will always seem right until he's cross-examined. Well, who's the first to testify in our head? We are. We don't cross-examine ourselves. We don't ask why. And the truth is, we don't know what the motivation is in that other person's mind. We don't know what their intention is in saying or doing what they did or said. We barely know our own motivation as we go through our day. You know what does come up in our head when somebody is saying something to us or doing something to us? I'm the victim. Why are they doing this to me? Why are they saying this to me? Why? Look, we might not know what's going on in that other person's head, but if we get angry, you know what it is? They're the victim. They're thinking, I'm the victim. Why are you getting angry with me? Why are we so confident in thinking we're always right? In our perspective, we are, but look, we get stuck. We get stuck when it comes to our anger, and then we wear that anger as a badge of honor, as if we're this righteous superhero fighting for justice. But does anger really help fight injustice? No. Injustice, in this sense, is an argument with a family member or a coworker. Injustice, in this sense, is how we get angry when we're driving. But does anger really do anything to help? Maybe at first. It fills us with adrenaline. But over the long term, it's definitely not helpful. Because what anger does is it pulls away our reasoning. It doesn't leave us in a place where we can make better decisions. In fact, it does exactly the opposite. But to fight injustice and stand for what's right, we need to be connected to the most reasoning, most creative, most clear-headed parts of ourselves. And that's not available to us when we're angry. The compassionate mind, the mindful being, we are able to make better decisions. We shouldn't move through our life in our angry space, because that anger stops us from taking real action. We confuse anger with actually doing something sometimes, because there's energy there. So think about how an angry text or an angry social media post might make us feel like we've done something. A study from the University of British Columbia shows that deep inside we feel like that angry post is actually doing something, like we took a stand. Yep, I tweeted. I put a message on Facebook. I tweeted. But what did that really do other than make us feel like we've done something, like we've taken some kind of an action? Who's going to see it? Who's going to care? We've been fooled into thinking that we've taken action. Anger keeps us from taking the right steps. In anger, we don't see that that post is useless or pointless, or that we're talking to the echo chamber of our social media feed. Anger is a stress response that affects us negatively. We are wired with that fight or flight response, but it's supposed to be over quickly. That fight or flight response is mimicked all over nature, but most creatures have the ability to let it go quickly. Like that zebra that's been chewing on some grass for a while, and all of a sudden this lion jumps out who wants to eat it. And that zebra gets filled with adrenaline, and it runs like hell. But as soon as the lion gets what it needs, if the zebra survives, it lets go. It goes right back to eating that grass. It doesn't hold on, but we do. That response isn't supposed to be sustained. Now, we're not zebras, but the truth is that anger poisons our relationships. It affects our body. It clouds our mind. We have to have some tools to let it go. We have to learn not to carry it around for so long. We need to stop being in that righteous space. I'm right, and you're wrong, and I'm going to take a stand and shake my fist in indignation. Why? Why is my anger taking me when this person does the same thing they've done for years? Why is this anger getting hold of me when these idiot drivers that I encounter every single day do the same thing? Why does it make me feel better to blare my horn and flip somebody off when they didn't see that the light has changed as quickly as we did? Maybe they were looking at their phone and we taught them a lesson. Why? Did we really teach them a lesson? You know what? We didn't. What we did is made ourselves feel better for a moment. But I say, it's the easiest thing in the world to do that. I say, it's the lazy way out. It's a lazy person who chooses to teach someone a lesson for doing something that we've probably done ourselves. It's a lazy person who allows an emotional response to take them out of that calm or to ruin their day. And I say, when we do that, we get addicted to it. We lean into it. I'm mad as hell and I'm going to tell everybody about it. But you know what? Are you really mad at that lady at the light who didn't look up as quickly as you wanted her to? Are you really that angry at your mother-in-law who made another insensitive comment about something you've done or didn't do? Is your righteous anger even real? I challenge you. I challenge you to see that the anger isn't brought on by anybody but you. You can't control what other people say or do, but with practice, you can always choose to respond differently. Most of the time, we don't remember that it's a choice. Not always, but most of the time. Most of the time, we're just letting our autopilot kick in when Uncle George is spouting about his politics, even though he's done it since we were kids. We allow that auto response to kick in every time we get in our car and we get mad about the way people drive. It's a choice. And that's where the power lies. The power of choice. I challenge everyone I work with to take that power back. It's not easy. You can't do it if you're lazy. But with practice, you can choose another response. You can choose to take a deep breath the next time cut you off in traffic and let it go. You can choose to lightly tap your horn the next time someone's distracted at a traffic light. You can choose to just grin and nod The next time your mother-in-law makes that passive-aggressive comment about something. For the bigger things, you can choose to lean into forgiveness rather than anger. Practicing forgiveness is the secret sauce to living a peaceful life. To forgive that person who chooses to live their life differently than you do, to believe differently than you do. To forgive those drivers who find their power in trying to get to the traffic light first. To forgive that politician who doesn't align with your beliefs. To forgive that family member for doing the same thing that they've been doing for the entire time you've known them. Forgiveness, for they know not what they do. And even if they do, don't let them take away your power. Don't give it up to them. Don't let them take away your power to choose to breathe, to choose to look the other way, to choose to let it go, to choose to walk in peace. Every time you allow someone to make you angry, you're surrendering. You're surrendering your emotions to them. They're taking away their power. You're giving up your freedom. Take it back. It's a practice. I can share so many tools with you that help build that practice. But you can do it. Anyone can do it. I was that person. Through practice, I've changed. Am I 100%? No. But with practice, I get better and better every day. You have to take back your power. To empower yourself is what this is all about. So that's my message for the day. It's a little long, but I hope it's useful. So I'm Coach Bill with Meditate School of Mindfulness. To learn more about this message and any other messages that we have out there, visit us on our website at www.meditateyou.me. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.